Hello everyone! Welcome to Sophisticated DIY. Today's video is packed of fun. We're gonna start by making a real hoodie for Biani, and we are gonna use our Cricut to add some graphics. Then we are gonna stylize the hoodie to prepare her to go to the airport, making of course a get ready with me. So let's go! First of all, I'm gonna start by drawing what I wanna make. That will give me a better idea of how to do the pattern. I already have a pattern of another hoodie that I did. So pretty much what I need to do is just to modify a little bit the pattern to accommodate it to our new design. And here you go, this is the pattern and I'm gonna start cutting. But after I start cutting, I realized that I want to digitize that. So in the case you wanna have that pattern too, this pattern is very good for a third of the scale though. So I'm gonna make some photocopy and as well I'm gonna scan it. That way it will be easier for me to digitize. Then I cut my patterns, and always it's very important to cut all your notches, because they will communicate, they will make your job way easier when you are sewing. For sewing, of course, I'm gonna use a sweatshirt fleece. I already used it when I did for her the Lululemon pants, and I'm gonna use this fawn knit for the hood lining. And then I'm gonna do as I did with the pants. I'm gonna use a collar t-shirt ribbon for all the knit ribbon that my hoodie needs. I'm gonna place my pattern, and I have complete patterns and patterns that need to be cut twice. So I'm gonna start with the pattern that are one, and I'm gonna place them on the fabric completely flat, and I'm gonna cut them. I cannot emphasize enough the importance of cutting all the notches. It makes your job so easy. Now that I did that, my hood and my sleeves need to be cut in 2 pieces, and I'm gonna do that. And then it will be the time to cut the hood lining. For the knit ribbon, I'm gonna pull it a little bit and I'm gonna cut it a little bit smaller than the pattern. If you're going to use regular fabric, then you use the same as the pattern. So, you know, and I probably will need some elastic. This one is very soft. This is why I think I'm gonna use it. Now is the time for the graphic design, and I'm gonna use my Cricut. I'm in the space and I found some kind of heart that I think I like them, and I'm gonna print a few pieces for other projects that I have. And really I love to work with the Cricut, and I did have a lot of fun working with the Cricut. I do not work on it as much as I wish, just because to set the machine sometimes takes a little bit of space that I do not have. Well, I have my first heart and I think it looks good. And now for the back, I'm gonna make the biggest heart, and it has a lot of small things that I have to lift. But, you know, with patience, I can do it. Now I have my pattern. I'm gonna start by writing soft, and right now I'm making a mistake because this should be at the front and I did it at the back. Well, I was able to remove it, but that made me think I'm not gonna use the leather, just the heart for the front and then the big heart for the back. And that's it. I'm ready to sew. I'm gonna start by sewing the pocket. And because the pocket needs to have a specific shape, giving the shape to the pocket is not an easy task. So I'm gonna cut a template. I'm using a piece of cardboard. As you can see, it was from an old tissue box, and I mark it and I cut it. And that way I can start folding the edges with the help of my cardboard. I'm gonna start by the edges of the opening of the pocket, and I'm gonna just fold these two for the moment. And I'm gonna make my double stitch one besides the other, like any regular full-size hood. Here you go. It looks good, right? I love it. After I stitch my 2 pocket edges, I'm gonna fold the rest of them. Using a clapper after you iron, it will help a lot. Now that my pocket is ready, I'm gonna prepare the front of my hood, adding the zipper first. Because, you know, I prefer to sew the zipper first just because the piece flat without anything is more comfortable for sewing the zipper. After I sew the zipper, then I'm gonna stitch the pockets. And an if you didn't know how to sew the exposed zipper, now you will know how to do it. Or let me know in the comment that I can make a more step-by-step tutorial. I don't want really to make this video too long, but it's pretty easy. I basically start by sewing the bottom part after I mark the zipper and the edge on my piece, and then I'm gonna make a little triangle and I'm gonna cut where I marked. Then it's just a matter of pulling out and just top stitch. Easy, right? But now that I see that, I think I want to add something. Like I have the purple graphic, so I think this purple lace will look fantastic. So I'm gonna add the purple lace to the zipper before I do my final top stitch all around. And here you go, it looks great, huh? So now that I have my beautiful zipper, I can stitch my pocket, and of course you have to mark your center and do your double stitches and everything. Then is the time to sew the shoulders. This is pretty straightforward. After you sew them, you search, and then I like as well to make a top stitch. It's looking good, huh? My next step is to prepare the sleeves. 1 notch for the front side, 2 notches from the back side, and as you can see, the body as well has 1 notch in the front and 2 notches in the back. I'm gonna use the rib knit I cut, and I'm gonna fold it and stitch the edge before I sew it to the sleeves. And then after I sew them to the sleeve, I'm gonna just go to my serger machine and I'm gonna serge it. As you can see, the knit is kind of stretched out, and this is very desirable. This is what you want, right? To create that effect. After I serge it, I'm gonna then top stitch, and my sleeves will be ready to be sewn to the body part. And as I said before, you have to match the front with the 1 notch and the back with the 2 notches, front with the front, back with the back, and stitch those sleeves very slowly because those curves are really not easy. This is why after I sew it, I'm gonna nip all around that curve, and I think I'm gonna reduce a little bit the seam allowance, which was small, but you know, when you are working at 1/3 of the scale, it's still too big, right? After that, I'm gonna serge and top stitch. Then is the turn of my hood. So we have the hood and the lining hood. I'm gonna start with the hood, and I'm gonna sew all around. And this part is, you have to be so careful with it because it's so curvy, so you kind of have to lift the foot while you are sewing all the time. And after as well, snip a little bit the seam allowance, and then I'm gonna open the seam allowance and I'm gonna make 1 stitch at each side of the seam. That way the seam allowance will be open, and I hope that it will look kind of more flat. Anyways, I'm gonna use a small ham, and I'm gonna try to, you know, iron the best I can my hood all around and flatten up using my clap in order to have that hood as smooth as possible. I'm gonna do exactly the same with my lining because I want both to be smooth and nice. Now is the time to pin them together, and I'm gonna stitch them at the front part. And this is my hood, it's looking good. Now I'm gonna stitch the hoodie to my body, but just the upper part, not the lining. And this is very, very tricky because it has a lot of curve. For the inside, I'm gonna put a kind of tape, and I'm gonna, you know, stitch it, and the tape will kind of hold that stitch at the end. But before that, I'm gonna make sure to tack the hood and the lining, so, you know, when you move the hood, they move together. And then finally, I'm making my top stitch all around, and it looks really, really, really great. So I can make my second stitch, and voila. But you know what? I forgot to make the hole for the cord. So unfortunately, I have to open, you know, when you open those and you want it to sew the second time, it doesn't sew the same, but I don't want to finish my hoodie without the holes. So I'm gonna use my special tool, and I'm gonna put my eyelet, and they look really good. And I'm gonna insert my elastic, and now I can pin all around the elastic because later on I'm gonna top stitch that and it will look fantastic. I'm gonna put a little bit of the label in one side because I didn't like how the eyelet look, and that kind of cover and as well will be kind of a label, you know. Now I can do my top stitch and my hoodie is almost done. I just have to close the sides, and for closing the sides, you know, as the sleeves will be so thick, I kind of close that part first, check that it's all good, and then close the rest. And after that, I'm gonna serge it for this particular case because the serger will be kind of at the edge. I'm gonna try to put the thread of the serger in, and that way it will look a little bit more clean. And the last part is the waist knit, and you know how to do it. You just have to sew them together, and then I'm gonna close it, and then I'm gonna sew it to my hood. So in this case, I'm not really forgetting the elastic. I'm just trying to see if it will look good without the elastic or if it will need the elastic. I'm not so sure. So I'm just trying to see, and I'm sewing it without it first, and I think it will look really okay. When I sew it, then I'm gonna serge it, and after I do my top stitch and it's all done. But I'm feeling now like it's just too, it doesn't look good. So you know, I was right at the beginning when I thought that this knit is so thin that I did need that elastic. But it's okay, I don't need to open everything. I can just open the side a little bit and then I can insert the elastic. After I insert the elastic, before I close it, I'm gonna check that it's all straight and nice. And then I'm gonna close my elastic, and then I'm gonna close the hole with a ladder stitch by hand, and it will look really like if I didn't open it. Then I can do my final top stitch, and my hoodie is done, and I'm just putting the last little details that will make it look a little bit more authentic. And now let's stylize it. Get ready with me. So Biani is going in a short weekend trip, so she decided to be very comfortable, and she's wearing a leggings and her sport bra, and on top she's gonna wear the hoodie. She's trying the hoodie for the first time now, so she still doesn't know how the hoodie feels on her, and I think she will be very happy because sometimes she get a little cold in the airplane. She's going to wear leg warmers, that way her trip will be a little bit more comfortable, and of course just a casual Converse shoes, so she can walk a lot in the airport in the case that she has connections or run for the terminal, because her connection is a little short, so she wanted to be sure that she will get the next plane. Now she's wearing her wig cap and she's putting on her wig, and she's almost ready. Look at the pockets. As I said, she sometimes get a little cold in the airplane, so she's wearing her beanie with the double pom-pom, and of course her music, she cannot be without them, and her glasses too. And she's taking a duffel bag because she wants to travel light and she doesn't want to have a lot of clothes, and you know, she put everything there and she will be ready with them. So now that she's ready, let's see how this hoodie look on her. And here she is. Look, all the details. She has real pockets. She has graphic design at the front and at the back. She has the cord for the hood. Is all great and fabulous. She always, when I do something for her, she wants to take some pictures. Now we can go to the airport, and there was a traffic jam. Finally she's here, but now she's kind of getting a little stressed just because the duffel bag is a little bit too long for the standard article, and she doesn't know if she will be able to get on the airport or not. So guys, that was all for today. If you find this video useful or entertaining, please give us a like and don't forget to subscribe. share, comment. Bye!